two presenters have done for fake news what the Fox News Channel has done for fake news. Please welcome Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Good evening, godless sodomites.
Godless sodomites. They be putting this stuff right here in your face.
What are you doing?
I'm bringing the truth, John. We're in Hollywood, the belly of the beast.
You can't just read the prompter?
I'm reading the prompter in here. You can read that pablum.
Award show banter is not pablum. Reality television celebrates the human condition. By illuminating what's extraordinary in the ordinary person.
It warps the minds of our children and weakens the resolve of our allies.
The results are often dramatic and always unexpected. We're here to honor achievement in that category.
By giving you a golden idol to worship. Kneel before your God, Babylon!
That's what we. That's where we at. Y'all heard him. Kneel before your God, Babylon. Kneel before your God, Babylon. That's why Revelation 16:19 says, and the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and the great Babylon came in remembrance before God Yahweh to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And that's what you're witnessing today. Because everybody think it's a joke.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next two presenters have done for fake news what the Fox News Channel has done for fake news. Please welcome Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Good evening, godless sodomites.
What are you doing?
I'm bringing the truth, John. We're in Hollywood, the belly of the beast.
You can't just read the prompter?
I'm reading the prompter in here. You can read that pablum.
Award show banter is not pablum. Reality television celebrates the human condition.
This place about to be destroyed
By
again.
illuminating what's
Celebrate.
extraordinary in the ordinary person.
Celebrating destruction.
It warps the minds of our children and weakens the resolve of our allies.
Some believe the United States isn't just a superpower. It's the mystery
Shalom,
Babylon
family.
warned about in Revelation. But is that just a conspiracy or a prophecy unfolding? The Bible describes Babylon as a powerful, rich city ruling over the kings of the earth.
Peace and
A
blessings,
nation
beautiful
full of
souls.
immorality, witchcraft, and blasphemy. A place that sits on many waters, symbolizing influence over many nations. Now consider America. It exports culture, entertainment, and military across the globe. It leads in wealth, power, and media, but also in moral decay. It's home to churches, yet full of spiritual confusion. Come out of her, my people, so you will not share in her sins.
Are you awake yet? Can you see how the puzzle pieces are starting to come together? Can you see how biblical prophecy is playing out right before our very eyes? And so many people don't even realize that it's happening.
When I look around the globe, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and others are increasing their collaboration and their cooperation as their interests align against us.
You see, China, Iran, Russia, North Korea, all these nations are watching us. They are seeing what we're doing, how we're strong-arming nations. And you think that they're going to be okay with that?
See that?
You think they're going to let that slide? You think that they're just going to let us board their ships, take prisoners, and take them back to our country without something happening? You better think again.
You better
this is
think
real
again.
life, and it's happening before our very eyes. Wake up.
Wake up, my people.
The world is very close to a big disaster. One bad decision could start a fire no one can stop. I will speak slowly and clearly so everyone understands. Russia is watching what is happening in the Middle East. If the United States attacks Iran, this will not stay a small war. It could turn into something much bigger and very dangerous. America says it wants peace, but sending warships and making threats does not look like peace. This is how big wars usually start. Iran is its own country. It is not a toy. It is not a target for power games. Russia will not accept another country being attacked just to show strength. Some leaders think pushing harder makes others obey. That is wrong. When you push too much, people push back. And when people push back, wars begin. If bombs fall on Iran, the whole region could explode into chaos. Oil prices will rise. Countries will suffer. Innocent people will pay the price. This is not anger. This is a warning. Russia does not want war, but Russia will not stay silent while others.
Oh, look at all these sad comments. Look at all these sad comments. You see a couple videos on the screen, and you got to put all these little fake, phony comments. But we're going to pray for y'all because we.
Mystery drones over a major U.S. military base in Louisiana. Waves of high-tech drones flying over the highly sensitive area. That base housing B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command. So who's behind the drones? Here's our...
Investigating multiple unauthorized drones operating in our airspace during the week of March 9th, not long after the start of the war with Iran. The analysis we reviewed, David, said these still unexplained incursions are expected to continue, and law enforcement officials, David, have long expressed concerns about the country's ability to defend itself from drones. David?
And our team will stay on this too. Aaron, thank you.
These are all the military bases the United States has around the world. You know, no other country has this. Just the United States has this. Nobody else does this. China, Russia, they don't have bases all over the world. Who does? We do. Because that's how capitalism ends up. You have to use a gun to keep it going. And you have to become fascist. And this is why our country is going down the shitter, and we're ending like all great empires end. We're overextending militarily while we won't take care of our own people at home. That's where your money's going because your government is 100% corrupt, not regular corrupt. It's 100% corrupt. Natural resources from these places. Look at all the bases we
Look
have
at all
outside
them
of
bases.
China.
There's just a lot of robbing, stealing, and killing
Look at this. Here comes South
over
America,
resources.
Central America. Look at that. Can you imagine if China had these many bases in South and Central America or anywhere?
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine if China had all these bases in the Middle East? Imagine. These are all the military bases the United States has around the world. You know, no other country has this. Just the
No
United
other
States has
country.
this. Nobody else does this. China, Russia, they don't have bases all over the world. Who does? We do. Because that's how capitalism ends up. You have to use a gun to keep it going. And you have to become fascist. And this is why our country is going down the shitter.
This
and
is
we're
why.
ending like all great empires end. We're overextending militarily while we won't take care of our own people at home. That's where your money's going because your government is 100% corrupt, not regular corrupt.
What's the problem with
It's
this channel?
100% corrupt. This is called.
What's the problem with this channel? Can you tell me what's the big problem with this channel? Why this channel bother you so much? Can you tell the public why? Why you want this channel to not continue? Why don't you want all this wickedness to not continue? All the bombs that's being dropped on innocent people. Why don't you want that to stop continuing? All the eating these children and kidnapping children. Why don't you want that to stop? Taking a whole nation of people and kidnapping them, dropping them off on the other side of the world. Why don't you stop that from happening? See, people like you is the reason this country is going down. Because you keep hate going. Ain't no hate on this channel. It's just total truth. Yeah, this is a good country. It just got some real wicked people here. People that don't like other people because of the color of their skin. Because they voice their opinion or speak truth. The Bible says you shall know the truth, and the truth is what's going to make you free. The Bible says Satan deceived the whole world. And until that man in perdition is taken out of the way, and that's what our Father Yahweh doing right now. He is revealing the sons of perdition. Hallelujah.
Y'all do not know. They are scared of y'all. The black community. Y'all single-handedly own the power and you can't even see it. They know that y'all single-handedly hold the cards to all of this shit in this nation. God, please just wake up and see what kind of control you actually have. If you really want to get technical, y'all are the ones.
See, we got some good Gentile brothers and sisters out there that's waking up, recognizing our truth, our history. That's what history stands for. It's our history. History. It's his story. It's our story. And everybody want to take our story and cover it up and bury it under dirt, cover it up in the rocks. But
lose their wealth. They're waking up. Y'all better get ready. One by one, they're waking up to rich man's bullshit. And they're seeing, and they're standing their ground. And once they lose the black vote, it's on like a Donkey Kong. Let me tell you people something y'all do not know. They are scared of y'all. The black community. Y'all single-handedly own the power and you can't even see it. They know that y'all single-handedly hold the cards to all of this shit in this nation. God, please just.
there we go. I'm sick and tired of blacks. I'm sick and tired of blacks. Your own skin sick and tired of you too. Even the sun sick and tired of you. You know the sun that you got to go stand out there in front of the sun? That sun is tired of you. Every time you go out there, try to burn you up. You got to be careful of who you say you don't like, because you never know who you talking to. You talking to God's chosen people. See? You haven't realized that yet, right? You dealing with God's chosen people. You dealing with divine beings. You dealing with divine beings. You're not dealing with drug dealers and gangbangers, and the earth is getting sick and tired of you.
Shit is when they lose their wealth. Talk about white privilege. They will lose their wealth. They bank on y'all. They bank on y'all remaining stagnant with their bullshit. I can't wait to see this shit unfold, because I'm gonna tell you, there's one by one they waking up. Y'all better get ready. One by one they're waking up.
Oh,
Rich
when the
man's
saints.
bullshit.
Oh, when the saints.
And they're
Oh,
seeing,
when
and
the
they're
saints
standing their
come
ground.
marching
And once
in.
they lose the black vote, it's on.
Shocks Israel. Netanyahu in panic after Tehran's bold move. Tel Aviv is shaken, not just by explosions, but by fear. After years of threats and pressure, Iran has struck with a message the world can no longer ignore. Overnight, a single ballistic missile launched by Iran pierced every layer of Israel's defense system, including the famed Iron Dome. It made direct impact, with devastating results. One missile, full precision, massive damage, and Israel still doesn't understand what kind of missile it was. Behind the scenes, sources say Israeli officials are stunned. Prime Minister Netanyahu is now demanding U.S. military action. He's even threatening to launch a direct strike on Iran's nuclear facilities himself if Washington stays silent. But it gets deeper. Last night, a 5.2 magnitude earthquake shook parts of Iran, and many now believe it wasn't natural. Breaking news. Iran shocks Israel. Netanyahu in panic after Tehran's bold move. Tel Aviv is shaken, not just by explosions, but by fear. After years of threats and pressure, Iran has struck with a message the world can no longer ignore. Overnight, a single ballistic missile launched by Iran pierced every layer of Israel's defense system, including the famed Iron Dome. It made direct impact, with devastating results. One missile, full precision, massive damage, and Israel still doesn't understand what kind of missile it was. Behind the scenes, sources say Israeli officials are stunned. Prime Minister Netanyahu is now demanding U.S. military action. He's even threatening to launch a direct strike on Iran's nuclear facilities himself if Washington stays silent. But it gets deeper.
Last night, a 5.2 magnitude earthquake shook parts of Iran, and many now believe it wasn't natural. It may have been a nuclear test, a warning.
Somebody say fake news. I mean, it's like you have people that want to be cherry pickers. You know, they want to pick what news fake and what news real to them. Well, the Bible is real news, all right? And what the Bible say is going on, that's what we see going on in reality right now. This ain't no fake news. It's bombs dropping. And that dome is cracked over there in Israel.
Hey, have you seen this video?
We believe in the truth.
In America, for a very long time, the white Americans enslaved the black African Americans. You have no right to enslave any human being. Just because his color happens to be black, how dare you? You treat them as a second-class citizen. Who do you think you are? That black human being has the same human identity, human nature. He is exactly created by the very God who created you as a white skin. Who do you think you are to say you are a second-class citizen? I'm going to use you as a slave for me. How dare you?
See, it's time for the world to wake up. It's too divided. And that's what God said he doing. He here in the last days, he said he going to separate the sheep from the goats. He's separating the wheat from the tares. He's separating the wicked from the righteous. That's what's going on. He's bringing down all the haughty and proud looks.
But guess what? The black people living in the Americas are the chosen people of God.
Shalom. My name is Ronette Brooks, and before I get started, I want to say all praises to the Most High. I am a Gentile, and it is very important because I know that Israelites that are in the truth and know who they are going to be hearing my voice. This is not about to know that they were the tribe of Judah. I've learned since then that it might be some Benjamites in there and some Levites, but all I want to say is Gentile, and it is very important because I know that Israelites that are in the truth and know who they are going to be hearing since 2009. The Most High allowed me to know that they were the tribe of Judah. I've learned since then that it might be some Benjamites in there and some Levites, but all I want to say is I am here with a humble heart, and I am infinitely in awe because I know that I'm speaking to the light of the world, and I believe all this stuff, and I believed it since 2019. So I want to talk about two ways that we describe blacks in this country. And I also want to say to the Israelites, I'm going to use your book. I'm not going to teach your book, but I'm going to use your book just to talk about identity. I love the word.
Get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right? I mean, I remember, I'm New York, so I remember Donald Trump. Okay? And I remember his relation. This is why it's very interesting about Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is not a racist. And he's not a misogynist. He's a narcissist. If you like Donald Trump, he like you. If you're black, if you're a woman, don't make a difference. If you like him, he likes you. And he will go to the ends of the earth to support you. And that's very important to understand the psychology of this. Because he will become a racist if he has to.
In the Bible,
he will become a misogynist if he has to.
Yahweh's servant.
If it fits his narcissistic plan, he will become
still
this.
used the
But let
wicked
me tell you
man
something. I remember
to take
Studio
care of other
54,
wicked men.
And I remember
And when
the
he get
places
done
where Donald
using
Trump
that
would
wicked
end
man to
up.
take
He
care of
used
the
to
other
go
wicked
to
man, he
rappers'
deal with that
parties.
wicked man too.
There's
So
pictures of him.
you gotta take the good with the
1992, when
bad.
they interviewed Donald Trump, he said if he could come back in his next life, he'd want to come back as an educated black man. He said it. I heard him say it, so it's not something I heard people say. He said because the one individual in America that has the most promise for the future is an educated black man. Think about that statement. Think about what he actually said, and then think about you, brethren. Think about what he said about the prospects of who he viewed to be the future of America. And then look at what they're trying to do with denying you your education so that you will never become that educated black man. Because they all know the truth. And when I say educated, I'm talking about conscious. I'm not necessarily talking about going through their system and accepting that. Because I've gone through their system. I never accepted it. It is just simple like that, because it just didn't work with my mind just couldn't function like that. Their religion, I grew up Roman Catholic. A choir boy, altar boy. I wanted to be a priest. Can you believe it? But the fact is that as I went through this process, like when I turned 13, 14, and I started seeing that priests couldn't date, couldn't be.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has issued a new ominous warning to the United States and to NATO about nuclear weapons and World War III. I'm going to be sharing with you the video footage and the articles so you can see it for yourself, but take a look at this quote that came out just a little while ago today. Putin also suggested on Wednesday today that he may soon deploy conventional missiles to areas capable of striking the United States and its allies in retaliation for Western nations sending
It's
Ukraine
Passover
weapons that
time.
were used to strike targets in Russia. And this is all surrounding what has unfolded over the last
Gotta
48
put that
hours.
blood
as
on your
Russia is saying
doorpost.
that the United States has made a fatal miscalculation.
Because
in
more
Ukraine.
plagues,
And
more
this comes
divine
as Ukraine
plagues
has
coming.
struck Russia with U.S.-made missiles. Now,
What's
I
up,
reported to you
Mustang?
as
How
soon
you
as it
doing?
came out that it was
Shalom.
confirmed that it was a U.S. missile that has hit Russia. This coming from Ukraine.
More
and we have heard
plagues
Russia say
coming.
that any nation that provides these long-range missiles to Ukraine, that they would be held accountable. And this is a major policy shift from President Joe Biden and from NATO, as since the war began over the last 2 years, there have been major warnings from the United States to Ukraine not to use U.S.-made missiles, as this could escalate the tensions between NATO. Russian President Vladimir Putin has issued a new ominous warning to the United States and to NATO about nuclear weapons and World War III. I'm going to be sharing with you the video footage and the articles so you can see it for yourself, but take a look at this quote that came out just a little while ago today. Putin also suggested on Wednesday today that he may soon deploy conventional missiles to areas capable of striking the United States and its allies in retaliation for Western nations sending Ukraine weapons that can be used to strike targets in Russia. And this is all surrounding what has unfolded over the last 48 hours, as Russia is saying that the United States has made a fatal miscalculation in Ukraine. And this comes as Ukraine has struck Russia with U.S.-made missiles. Now, I reported it to you as soon as it came out that it was confirmed that it was a U.S. missile that has hit Russia, this coming from Ukraine, and we had heard Russia say that any nation that provides these long-range missiles to Ukraine, that they would be held accountable. And this is a major policy shift from President Joe Biden and from NATO, as since the war began, over the last 2 years, there have been major warnings from the United States to Ukraine not to use U.S.-made missiles, as this could escalate the tensions between NATO.
Yeah, you're right. The government is trying to get paid from these wars. They're trying to capitalize off of these wars. Clowns trying to get paid from this. Yeah, you're right. They're trying to get paid from off of all these wars and oil and taking people resources.
That again, the whole history of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people
No, we all
that their
ain't gonna
enemies are
die.
black and brown. It
Cause
starts in the
Yahweh said he's
colonies
sealing up his people.
of what would become the United
So
States.
if you ain't sealed
Let's
up,
remember,
you're
during
right,
the
you are
colonial
gonna
period,
die.
mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. I know some
Same
people
way
who are
he
now called
departed
white
that
find
Red
that
Sea and
shocking
saved his people, that's what
because
he
they
gonna
think
do
whiteness
today.
is real.
That's what he
But
doing.
whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other. That's what we did in Europe. We just killed each other before we figured out there were other people to kill. We just killed each other. Right? I mean, that was the history of Europe. The English hated the Irish, right? Northern Italians didn't even think that Southern Italians were Italians. The Germans hated everybody, and everybody hated their ass right back, right? There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Why was it suddenly necessary to create this thing called the white race? Well, because rich people can count. That's why. And so rich folks looked around, the ones that owned all the
Yes,
land,
this is
in the
serious.
colonies,
This
the
very
colonial
serious.
elite looked around and they realized something, that they were heavily outnumbered by African enslaved folks, by European indentured servants, who were just one level above a slave, or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they
This
could do
war,
the math. They added it up and they were like, damn, we gotta
this
figure out a way
biblical,
to
this
split these
biblical
folks apart
prophecy.
from one another, or they're gonna rise up and take our stuff.
They might be able to narrate and
Because after a
read
while, these
teleprompts
black
and change
folks who were enslaved
the
Africans and these
narrative on
quote-unquote
everything
white
else,
folks who were
but
poor Europeans are going to figure out they're all getting played
you
by
can't
these
change
rich
the
people,
narrative what this
right? So
prophecy say.
ultimately, the rich figure out they got to come up with some way to get somebody in that group on their team. The easiest thing is to get the poor Europeans, right? Because at least they look like you. They sort of share some of the customs and the culture. So they all of a sudden create this thing called whiteness, and they say, now you're part of the club. Now we're going to let you testify in court, enter into contracts, vote, at least if you're a man, own a little bit of land, at least if you're a man, right? And we're going to get rid of indentured servitude. No more of that, because you're too good for that. And we're going to take the white men, now called white men, and put them on the slave patrol to keep
If
black
it wasn't
people
no
in line.
gods,
Give them a horse and a gun,
Jeffrey
badge, make them feel
Einstein,
big
them
and
they
powerful,
sure enough was
right? They're still poor.
sacrificing
They still don't
them
have
these
anything.
little
They
kids to
didn't
that
slave
god
patrol
Baal.
well, right? Just
And
exploited
America
them,
is
used
set
them
up
as a buffer
after
between the elite
Babylonian
and
worship, after the
the other
Babylonian
poor folks,
gods.
particularly poor folks of
So
color. And pretty soon, the rebellions that occasionally happened where black and
America
white got
believe
together
is gods,
to overthrow the elite, those stopped.
and I serve
Because
the true and the
divide
living
conquer
God.
had begun to work, right? You could turn
You
people
might not
against
have
each
no
other by
God,
telling those poor white folks they got to keep these black people in line. And so that divide
but
and
we
conquer
gonna
gets
pray for you.
initiated in the colonies. Rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. That again, the whole history of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. It starts in the colonies of what would become the United States. Let's remember, during the
See, if black people talk like this, it sounds like it may sound like it's hate. The way this guy up here talking, when you hear a black guy or one of us Israelites talk this way, it sounds like we spewing hate or we prejudice. But that's not what it is. It's truth. So Yahweh got to raise up people from their own culture, from their own tribes, to come tell them the truth, and they still don't want to listen to their own people. Tell it to them, brother.
Colonial period, mid 1600s, there was no such thing as white people. I know some people who are now called white find that shocking, right? Because they think whiteness is real. Right? But whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other. That's what we did.
Somebody say,
In Europe, we just killed each other before we figured out there were other people to kill. We just killed each other, right? I mean, that was the history of Europe. The English hated the Irish, right? Northern Italians didn't even think that Southern Italians were Italians. The Germans hated everybody, and everybody hated their ass right back, right? There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Why was it suddenly necessary to create this thing called the white race? Well, because rich people can count, that's why. And so rich folks looked around, the ones that owned all the land, you know, in the colonies, the colonial elite looked around and they realized that they were heavily outnumbered by African enslaved folks, by European indentured servants who were just one level above a slave, or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they could do the math. They added it up and they were like, damn, we got to figure out a way to split these folks apart from one another or they're going to rise up and take our stuff, right? Because after a while, these black folks who were enslaved Africans and these quote-unquote white folks who were poor Europeans are going to figure out they're all
no,
getting
it was
laid
not
by these
always a
rich
white
people.
race. There's
Right?
no
So
such thing
ultimately,
as
the
a
rich
white
figure out they
race.
got to come up
There's
with
no
some way
such
to
thing
get
as a black
somebody in
race.
that group on their team. The easiest thing is to get the poor Europeans, right? Because at least they look like you. They sort of share some of the customs and the culture. So they all of a sudden create this thing called whiteness, and they say, now you're part of the club. Now we're going to let you testify in court, enter into
See,
contracts,
as long
vote,
as
at least if you're a man, own a
all
little bit
these
of land, at least,
superficial
right? They're still poor. They still don't have anything. They didn't pay the slave patrol well, right? Just exploited them, used them as a buffer between the elite and the other poor folks, particularly poor folks of color. And pretty soon, the rebellions that occasionally happened where black and white got together to overthrow the elite, those stopped because the divide and conquer had begun to work, right? You could turn people against each other by telling those poor white folks, they got to keep these black people in line. And so that divide and conquer gets initiated in the colonies. Rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown.
American troops on the way to the Mideast. The USS Boxer leaving San Diego Harbor. The ship set to carry at least 2,200 Marines. The US accelerating their deployment, according to two people familiar with the decision. Meanwhile, as attacks continue in the region, a US F-35 jet is in Kuwait, while Qatar says the Iranian attack on its globally crucial natural gas installation will cost billions.
Sound, no warning, just complete silence until the moment they hit. Deep under the Strait of Hormuz, deadly naval mines lie hidden on the ocean floor. designed not just to explode on contact, but to listen, detect, and react within seconds. The moment a ship passes above, these weapons can launch upward with devastating force, tearing through massive vessels from below. One single
Yeah,
mine,
tell them again.
cheaper
Tell them
than
to
a
stop
used jet
messing with
ski,
the Israelites.
once came close to destroying $1 billion warship. Now imagine that same weapon hitting a fully loaded oil tanker, carrying millions of barrels. Here's where it becomes truly terrifying. It doesn't take a fleet or a full-scale war to disrupt the global economy. Just one explosion is enough. The moment a single ship is hit, insurance companies panic, shipping routes freeze, and suddenly one of the most critical oil corridors in the world shuts down. Not because of direct military force, but because of fear. And even though the United States Navy possesses some of the most
I know what
advanced
he said. I
mine-clearing
got ears.
technology
I
ever
said
built,
Israelites.
lasers scanning from
The Israelites
helicopters,
come from Israel.
unmanned robots searching the
They
depths,
were
and
stolen out of
precision drones
Israel.
capable of
They were
destroying
taken
mines.
out of Israel. They
They
was
haven't
put on
acted yet,
ships and brought to America
because this
from
isn't
Israel. So
just
that's
about
why I say
removing mines.
Israelites.
It's about
Now you may be
timing,
talking about the
strategy, and control.
Israelis over there, the
Clearing them too
citizens
early
of
could be pointless if
that
more are
land over
deployed,
there.
and acting without the right conditions could create even greater risks. So instead,
That
they
migrated
wait
over there.
until every variable aligns, until the moment
Look,
guarantees
let's not
complete
make this a
success.
big issue.
Until then, those silent weapons
It's
remain
time
hidden
for
in
the
the
truth.
darkness,
What you think?
waiting
What you
beneath the
think
surface,
Yahshua was talking
and the
about
world continues to
when
watch.
he was saying, "You're not the children of Abraham. You are your father, the devil." What you think the argument was about 1900 years ago? You're not the children of Abraham. You are your father, the devil. You abode not in the truth. See? And that's how you could tell, because the people in the last day, they will hate the truth. That's why God, Yahweh had to hold this truth back, because that's what's starting all these wars. That's why it's been so many fights in that land, because when you take a people out of their land and remove them far away from their borders and act like nothing happened, the chickens come home to roost. And, you know, the Bible said, God said he gonna destroy that place. There's never gonna be no peace in that land. Never. Until the children that were stolen out of that land return back, then the bombs will stop. But until then, that dome stands for doom. And that's why people mad at God, because of what he said he was gonna do. The Bible say when the true children come back in that land, it will be peace. There will be peace in the land. They ain't bringing no peace in that land over there. There's no peace. Smoking you right now. That's what I'm smoking. The carnal minded. Why don't you go find you another channel to tune into? That's what you could do. Go find another channel, brother. Ain't nothing but love over here. You sticking around because you want to see some type of confrontation or something. Ain't nothing but love on this channel. And rebuking and correction over here.
Do you know New York City is surrounded by the Greek god and goddesses of ancient mythology? This is the Hearst building. Look at this. This is Momus, the god of satire, the jester. And next to him, take a look at this, is Apollo playing
This
the
place is
harp
so weird.
with his raven companion.
You got
And next
demons
to
all
Apollo,
on the
again,
buildings,
is Athena
gargoyles, and they're talking
with
about
her
there ain't no
helmet.
God.
She is the
Look at
goddess
this.
of
All
wisdom
this
and strategic
paganism.
warfare. She also has her snake. My question is, if our Christian forefathers built these buildings, why Greek gods and goddesses?
And that's why the book of Isaiah 47 verse 1 said, come down and sit in the dust, O you virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne for you, O daughter of the Chaldeans, America. For you shall no more be called tender and delicate. This place ain't gonna be called tender and delicate no more. When you wake up and realize that this is a nightmare, not a dream, you just hate truth. People just hate truth. I bet you ain't got damn platform. You over here on this page trying to teach, but you ain't got nothing going for yourself. I can guarantee you.
The world is very close to a big disaster. One bad decision could start a fire no one can stop. I will speak slowly and clearly so everyone understands. Russia is watching what is happening in the Middle East. If the United States attacks Iran, this will not stay a small war. It could turn into something much bigger and very dangerous. America says it wants peace, but sending warships and making threats does not look like peace. This is how big wars usually start. Iran is its own country. It is not a toy. It is not a target for power games. Russia will not accept another country being attacked just to show strength. Some leaders think pushing harder makes others obey. That is wrong. When you push too much, people push back. And when people push back, wars begin.
You better
If bombs fall on Iran, the whole region could explode into chaos. Oil prices will rise. Countries will suffer. Innocent people will pay the price. This is not anger. This is a war. Russia does not want war. But Russia will not stay silent while others.
CDC warns everyone to be alert and cautious. This disease is proven to be fatal, and no treatments or this cough reported in fact, cough, and it's starting to pop up in the U.S. and just how cough, and it's starting to pop up in the U.S. and just how dangerous this can be. I have pulled together lots of research and compiled notes to share with you with the latest and shocking news about the meat that many of us eat all of the time, now deemed potentially poisonous, and essentially the very likely scenario this may be meat you planned on serving and family this coming Thanksgiving, November 23rd, for Thanksgiving, especially those of you who have been preparing based on the essential top 5 list of must-haves for getting prepared. And for those of you asking about the list of 5 essentials to buy right now in cash, like I did, there is a link in the description. Essentials to buy right now in cash, like I did. There is a link in the description and pinned comment so you can easily stay.
He says, kill the man.
Breaking.
He says, that's genocide. God is calling for genocide of the Amalekites, of Amalek. That's genocide. God is calling for genocide of the Amalekites, of Amalek. And the Prime Minister of Israel, at least once, I believe on other occasions, described the Palestinians in Gaza as Amalek. That's calling for genocide. The Palestinians in Gaza as Amalek. That's calling for genocide. And you know that. 16, I get all 15. That. 1 Samuel 15. But I do understand. And it's wide this country.
Ask him. Well, what do you think? I don't know. Does he think? I don't know. Does it bother you at all? People, I don't know what he meant. I don't know if it was an illustrative metaphor. I think what he was saying was that we're not going to let anything keep us from getting our hostages back, their sons and their daughters, who are being brutalized, raped, tortured, starved, beaten.
Come on, Mr. Miss.
No,
there are many examples of justice in the Bible. But there are
Israel
very
gets
few.
accused of genocide regularly.
I'm not accusing Israel of anything. I'm saying that the Prime Minister of Israel, described the Palestinians
Do you think he
as Amalek.
attempted to do genocide?
I'm asking why. When you say that, civilian casualties, maybe not as big as they were in Iraq, then I have to ask you, what is that? And is that kind of thinking consistent with Western values and with Christianity? Do we as Christians?
Nobody in the Bible.
The Negro can prove to the white man that he can live like the white man. Then we will accept him.
And the only thing that scares me is the neighborhood will get collection and we can go in.
Homes in this Philadelphia suburb sell for 10 to 11.
If Mr. Black and Mr. White live next door to each other, they have the same job, the same.
Соединенные Штаты, решив свои вот эти задачи текущего плана, значит, оторвав, как они считают, Украину, разорвав отношения России с Европой, в этом плане они добились того, чего хотели, к сожалению. Просто мы по-другому себя вести уже не могли. Или нужно было сдать все и смотреть, как они чавкают, съедая все подряд. Наше, исконно российское.
Recuerden que no el simple hecho de que César Chávez, él no quiere.
I'm not gonna hype this up. Just put 20.
It is day 22 of the Iran war. We are on the ground in the region. Let's take you through what's been happening across the Middle East today. More than 3 weeks into the conflict, the war may be nearing a turning point. The United States and Israel say they've largely achieved their initial objectives, and any further escalation would likely require significantly more force. There have been mixed signals from Donald Trump, but in a Truth Social post, he suggested he may be open to winding down the war, hinting at possible de-escalation as global economic pressure grows. But that messaging appears to contrast with developments on the ground. The Pentagon has requested $200 billion for the war effort, and reports indicate 2,500 Marines are being deployed to the region. There's also speculation the US could attempt to seize Hog Island, a cornerstone of Iran's oil industry. Despite US claims that Iran's military has been significantly weakened, Tehran continues to show it can project force across the region.
Whoa. 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 About. Whoa. Whoa.
Insane new footage is going viral right now, capturing the exact moment an Iranian ballistic missile slams into the southern Israeli city of Dimona. The video shows a bright flash tearing through the sky before a massive explosion erupts on impact, sending shockwaves across the surrounding area. Within seconds, thick smoke rises as emergency sirens blare in the background. Dimona is considered one of Israel's most sensitive locations, raising immediate concerns
It's
about the
sad what
potential targets and the broader
these people
implications
got
of
to
this
go
strike.
through over here, all
Officials
because
say
some
air
people want
defense
some
systems were
oil
activated, but at least
or
one
want to
missile
control
appears to have made
resources.
impact, sparking fears of further escalation in an already tense region. Emergency crews rushed to the scene as authorities began assessing
Seems like
damage
it's the
and
same
searching for
playbook they
possible
used from the
casualties.
Iraqi war.
So far, details
Ain't
remain
find
limited,
one
but the
bullet
situation
shell
is
over there.
rapidly developing. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
By now, you all know that we are being suppressed in social media and news organizations such as CNN, MSNBC. This regime is lying to us. They want us to believe that only 6 service members were killed and 18 wounded in the attacks in Kuwait and Bahrain. Now, during the conflicts of Iraq, casualties would be sent to the largest regional hospital in Europe, which is Landstuhl, Germany, in Kaiserslautern. Landstuhl Regional Medical Center, LRMC, Germany, is the only forward station medical center for the U.S. and coalition forces. It is the largest U.S. hospital outside the United States, where it serves as the sole military medical center for more than 205,000 beneficiaries throughout Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. So if there's any casualties within Europe, Middle East, and Africa, they would be sent to Landstuhl. The Department of the Army Landstuhl Regional Medical Center put out a memorandum for record dated Tuesday, March 3rd, and the subject is labor and delivery closures. So due to the hospital's primary objective, labor and delivery is closed until further notice. What would
US forces pound an Iranian missile base and destroy military infrastructure. America and Israel hammering Iranian targets on day 21 of the war. Iran also firing back with Tehran vowing to keep fighting. The moment of impact. Fragments from an intercepted Iranian missile land near the holy sites for Muslims, Jews and Christians in the old city.
I saw a cannibal just following.
Low-key, Reddit might be the...
Mom, Dad, I miss you all so much, but I'm making a sacrifice for my country and my people. I love you.
That's a shame. And that's what they want you to sacrifice your sons and your daughters in this meat grinding war for nothing. That's a shame. And that's what they want you to sacrifice your sons and your daughters in this meat grinding war for nothing.
Mom, Dad, I miss you all so much, but I'm making a sacrifice for my country and my people. I love you.
According to breaking reports, Iran just fired 2 intermediate-range ballistic missiles directly at Diego Garcia. That is the joint U.S.-UK military base in the middle of the Indian Ocean. One of the most strategically important U.S. bases. The United States has run bombing campaigns from that island for 2 decades straight. No country has ever attempted to strike it. Iran just did. On roughly day 21 of this war, Diego Garcia sits 4,000 kilometers from Iranian soil. Iran's declared maximum missile range is 2,000 kilometers. That is half the distance. One missile failed mid-flight. A U.S. Navy destroyer fired an SM-3 interceptor at the second. Neither struck the base, but whether they hit is not the story. Iran's own Mehr media confirmed the strike and bragged about it. They said the range of their missiles is beyond what the enemy previously imagined. For 10 years, they said 2,000 kilometers was the limit. On Friday, they doubled it. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how Iran reached a target 4,000 kilometers away, why Western intelligence knew this was possible and possibly chose to downplay it, and what this range means when you overlay it on a map of Europe. Because parts of Europe, especially Central Europe, are within the same broad distance band that this strike has now put into serious question. And this did not come out of nowhere. Last month, Iran's foreign minister stood in front of cameras and said Iran had intentionally capped its missile range at 2,000 kilometers. That was not an offhand remark. That was the official position Tehran had held since 2015. 2,000 kilometers covers Israel. It covers every U.S. base from Qatar to Bahrain to Kuwait. That is enough, they said. We do not need to go further. That message was designed to do one thing, keep European nations from classifying Iran as a direct threat to the continent. And it worked. Every Western intelligence assessment for the past decade took Iran at its word. Now, here's what that means. When Iran fired at Diego Garcia, it did not just strike at a military base, it destroyed 10 years of its own diplomatic cover story. And the question European governments are now dealing with is simple. If the 2,000-kilometer cap was a lie, was it ever meant to protect them, or was it meant to keep them from preparing? Stay with me. All because the question of how these missiles reach that distance has a technical answer that Western governments identified years ago and chose to downplay. And toward the end, I will show you what this 4,000-kilometer range means when you overlay it on a map of Europe. Most people think Iran's missile arsenal tops out around 2,000 kilometers. In reality, multiple credible assessments had flagged the potential for much longer range.
This guy calls himself an Israelite. What you want me to call myself? A nigga? Black man? A coon?
Officially, Tehran
A
says it
thug? What do you want me to call you? Call myself, huh?
Physics of that missile tell a different story.
That's one thing. Let me stop this video. Y'all hate when we claim our identity. But you got a people over there in the land of Israel that don't have no identity to that land, call themselves one thing, and they're not.
Which itself is a modified Soviet R-27 submarine-launched missile.
This guy calls himself an Israelite. I don't call myself an Israelite. I am an Israelite. Because before I knew that, I just knew I was black. Oh, my bad. My grandfather thought he was colored. Oh, I'm African American. What you want me to be? Because we the only group of people that came to the hills of North America and had to go through all these different identities. Colored, Negro, black, Afro-American, African American. Why all those, different identities? Somebody trying to hide something? See, we don't care about taking no identity test over here, no DNA test, because we know what's in our blood. But it's a group of people in somebody else's land that don't want their DNA taken. Mr. James. You love this channel. You like this channel. You welcome to stay. I kind of like you, Mr. James. You might learn something if you stick around. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to bridge that gap for people just like you that's having a hard time to cross over to this truth. No, they ain't. They red. Look at you. You got a little filthy mouth too, dude. We gonna get you. We gonna get you right though. You got a filthy mouth. And just come to the channel and spread some love. You can't spread no love. Ain't no hate on the channel. Just come spread some love. How you doing? He ain't got no love in his heart.
Iran just fired 2 intermediate-range ballistic missiles directly at Diego Garcia. That is the joint U.S.-UK military base in the middle of the Indian Ocean. One of the most strategically important U.S. bases. The United States has run bombing campaigns from that island for 2 decades straight. No country has ever attempted to strike it. Iran just did. On roughly day 21 of this war, Diego Garcia sits 4,000 kilometers from Iranian soil. Iran's declared maximum missile range is 2,000 kilometers. That is half the distance. One missile failed mid-flight. A U.S. Navy destroyer fired an S.
It may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. The Castro regime was brutal, but they lived off Venezuela. Now they don't live off Venezuela. Sends them no energy, no fuel, no oil, no money, no nothing. They lived without Venezuela. They couldn't have made it, and we cut them off from everything else. So they're going to make either a deal or we'll do it just as easy anyway. Taking Cuba, I mean, whether I
Taking Cuba.
take it,
See, this is the arrogance. See, this is what I'm talking about. I ain't got nothing against this man, but I got something against unrighteousness. How you gonna go take somebody else's country? This kind of remind me of how my ancestors was taken. It's the same characteristic. It's the same playbook. Take. This why Yahweh say he gonna destroy Babylon and the wise man up out of Babylon. That's what he gonna do. He'll take somebody's country, kidnap them.
De sus expresiones exclamó: a Cuba le hemos aplicado toda la presión posible. Están reconociendo que nos han bloqueado y que han aplicado una política de máxima presión. ¿Cómo ahora me van a decir que no, que el bloqueo es un invento nuestro si ellos mismos lo están diciendo? Y en una segunda fase, parte de esa expresión dice: ya solo lo que nos queda es tomar el lugar y arrasarlo todo. Entonces, ante toda esa situación que ya se venía acumulando y que era grave, aplican el bloqueo energético que ahora nos pone en una situación más difícil. Pero no estamos cruzados de brazos. No estamos cruzados de brazos. En primer lugar...
All right, Mr. James, you don't get no more attention. I gave you enough attention. I tried to conversate with you.
Desatado un plan de preparación para elevar la disposición para la defensa de nuestro pueblo.
You want confrontation. This China not for confrontation.
Y es defender al país con la participación y la preparación de todo el pueblo en la defensa. It may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're really...
I'm telling you, just start investing with AI.
News Nation's Joe Khalil live in Dubai tonight with a closer look at what is happening on the ground in the Middle East. Joe, what do
Would it kill you?
Black churches
Slaughtered, ran off their land, sold into bondage, had their heritage stolen from them. Would it kill you? Would it kill you to acknowledge the fact that these could be God's chosen elect? Well, evidently so. And unfortunately, in the words of King Solomon, there's nothing new under the sun. As a matter of fact, I'd like to read what King David had to say regarding this.
So many of their own people coming out telling the truth.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They have a confederate against thee. the tabernacles of Edom, that's you white people, Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, the Hagareans, Gebal and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, and with the slaughtered, ran off their land.
Black churches don't teach this. It's because they don't want to get in the struggle either. They don't want to make it, quote unquote, racially motivated. People, this has nothing to do with racially oriented. I'm going to say that
It
again.
sure
This
enough
has
don't.
nothing to do with being racially oriented.
And
This
everybody
is
try to make it
biblical.
that.
I'm going to repeat that. This is biblical. These are biblical people. If they weren't, why are they in the Bible? If God didn't want you to see this, then why did he write it? He did it because it has to do with his story. I'm saying, your forefathers, now walk with me, don't miss this. Because 98% of everybody out there believes that their roots starts in Africa. So they call themselves Black African Americans. And really what they should be talking themselves is they are what? The Hebrews and the Jews of the original temple of the city of David.
That's what got them people over there upset.
The kente cloth that you find in this, that most black culture uses as African cloth is the center cloth that was used in Solomon's temple and his mobile moving tabernacle. So where did you get that cloth from? Moses' mobile moving tabernacle. How did Moses get it? Because he was married to Zipporah and also an Ethiopian woman and etc. Now do you get the picture? Is this some good stuff? So you must take the people back past Africa.
Dude, you just can't just watch propaganda that you want to be true and think that this slop proves anything. Why is you still on this channel, dude? Huh, dude? Why are you still on this channel, dude? Hanging around, dude.
Oh, I don't know about you, but I can get excited about that.
Your people don't call it propaganda. That pastor right there on TV preaching, that's not propaganda. He preaching truth. You the only one think it's propaganda. You the only one that's delusional, dude. You cannot accept this reality. This is a reality that you have to wake up and accept.
I am dark.
You see the condition this world is in?
O daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents
Because of this one lie that's being perpetrated in the earth, that's why this world upside down, being flipped upside down, because the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our God, he don't play by his people. And if he punished us for over 400 years, what you think he gonna do to you? Huh, Mr. James? You and your descendants, James. This biblical truth. This don't have nothing to do with no black and white, no prejudice message. You interpret the Bible completely wrong. No, I ain't interpreting nothing completely wrong. You don't even read it.
I should maybe just mention this.
Mr. James.
I'm going to ask you a question.
You like this channel. I know you like this channel. You can't help it. You love it. You hate it, but you love it.
Not one in the Holy Ghost have the revelation.
Yeah, you can't sit around and say the black Hebrew Israelites, the Israelites spewing hate, because your people starting to wake up and realize the truth. See, we ain't got to do nothing no more. We could just sit back. We done did what we had to do. We went out and spoke. Now the rest of you waking up. I've been here for 20 minutes. Get out of here. Go somewhere. Go to bed. You ain't got nothing else better to do, James.
See, you don't know who you are.
Lived in a black neighborhood for quite a while. I saw how they treated white people. It's not very good, and yet all the hate is on white males.
You would get beat up if you said something racial to a black person.
You saw that happen?
Yes.
Almost exclusively white communities exist all around the United States. You know, working my entire life to build up a bunch of businesses, but I would like to have kids.
I want my kids to be taught that their ancestors did great things, not that they were the villains of history.
What?
It doesn't matter where your
Hung
kids
guys
grow up.
from trees?
Eventually, they're gonna grow up, kind of like roll.
My goodness.
Never have hooked our stars to theirs.
for black people.
Yeah, and why does the KKK burn crosses? Thought you guys were Christians. This is another video for black people. It's what we do best, whitewashing. Some other things that come to my mind, other than batteries and electricity
Brother,
being stolen from the Egyptians.
I don't feel like
Jesus
talking to you
was
no more,
sold
man.
for 30 pieces of silver. That was also
Just gonna pray
coincidentally
for you,
the
dude.
most amount of money
Even
a
though you
black
don't want
slave
that,
could
I'ma
be
do it.
traded for back in Roman times. Have you ever wondered how Jesus or a Jew or some Hebrew person walked into a town and everyone knew right away that they were Jewish? How do you know someone's religion? Just by looking, because they're black people. Think they were doing
You
that to white
already
people?
insulted me.
Oh, did you know all the gladiators were black
You've
too?
been harassing me since you've been on here.
It wasn't a white dude. All those black names in the Bible. Zechariah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Enoch, Isaiah. We can do this a long time. We really can. It's the entire Bible. It's a black history book. It's a black
I'm about to get ready
history book.
block you off my channel.
Yeah, and why does...
You know, one thing I respect is honesty. I respect when people are honest, when it's in your face. A lot of black people say, you know what? I respect people when I see the racism in my face. I don't like that old hidden, fake, liberal, passive aggressive. This man in this council meeting,
I know that's
is
what you
using
want
the
me to do,
N-word,
block you, but you
he's
ain't
using
even
it.
worth it.
You have to, words have
Like
to be
a
used in
flea
context.
flying around
And
somebody's
contextually,
ear.
he's using that word, the N-word, saying it. He goes, how do you wink at an... And he goes like that. That is heavy.
How do you wink at an... Oh my God. All right, mother... I learned that from a...
That European has been hiding from African for more than a millennium that Jesus was black.
Russia has opened its cellars to reveal remarkable paintings of Jesus dating back to the 1400s. Have you ever seen or heard of biblical icons where Jesus or the Virgin Mary have dark skin? Or even Abraham or King David? Then look beyond Europe. Russia has opened its vaults to reveal biblical icons featuring darker skinned figures. In case this is making you wonder if Russia has its own twist on biblical figures, the answer is a no. This is not the case at all. This is, a matter of fact, as real as the untouched horizon of time. These icons aren't just artistic anomalies. These hold deep meanings of hidden shaded truths, sparking serious, curious questions about history and faith, representation, and the unexpected corners of religious art. Pay close attention, amazing people. You are just about to hear it today, like it is in this video. In the Bible, that the Americans turned white when they told the stories to us. But Russians didn't get the memo. They went off for real history. Songs of Solomon. USA is also a great deceiver, and so many people inherit the wrong lesson from their great-grandparents and their parents, to the point where it's so deep that the lie is made true when the real answer is really just right there. But you never look, because why would you...
Angelo in Rome is currently hosting an exhibition of 40 Russian icons that have left their country for the first time. They are pieces of art that were hidden after the October Revolution of...
Icons has nothing to do with age, but are a measure of accuracy meant to depict the actual color of the skins of the people.
Has decided to move one of Russia's holiest icons from a museum to a Moscow cathedral. This arises a debate around Putin's growing reliance on the church. Emphasizing on the importance of the holy icon.
See how Russia keep that whole architecture too.
Rublev's Trinity be transferred to the Russian Orthodox Church from Moscow's Tretyakov Gallery for a year.
man just say goof pimples?
Everything is so
Ugly.
at the moment, and here suddenly it's a feast for the eyes.
Ugly.
These icons that you see are the survivors of what is left. Had the museums not saved them, they wouldn't be existing today. There used to be millions
So
of these
imagine how much
icons,
they
but now only
buried.
50,000 of them are within sight. The unveiling of these icons is a powerful testament to the enduring strength of truth. The authenticity of these paintings compels us to reevaluate our understanding of the past, particularly regarding the presence and representation of black figures. For centuries, these figures may have been shrouded in obscurity, but their rediscovery sheds light on previously untold stories, standing as a challenge to long-held assumptions, prompting us to rewrite history with a more inclusive lens. Many Russian icons were destroyed or sold abroad by agents of the Soviet.
Putin reveals to the world a
There lived a man named Nimrod. Nimrod was the great.
Those same Pharisees who killed Jesus Christ remain the undisputed rulers of Judaism.
In Babylon, the Pharisees codified their oral traditions into the Babylonian Talmud, the written form of that oral tradition which Jesus so bitterly rebuked. The Talmud reveals how deep was Israel's
I can
apostasy.
see why they hate Jesus.
The Talmud also helps us understand the basis for Christ's
See why they
unflattering
hate
descriptions of
they
the
hate
Pharisees.
they hate Yahshua.
Jesus described the Pharisees as hypocrites, children of hell, blind guides, whited sepulchres, full of dead men's bones. He even described the Pharisees as children of their father, the devil.
That's
a
him talking
murderer
about
from
them
the beginning.
Israelis over there.
The Talmud confirms Christ's word.
Netanyahu hate him.
In the Talmud, in Treatise Sanhedrin, an
They
extensive passage
antichrist. They
describes
don't
the right
like.
of the
They don't have
Pharisee
nothing
to
to do
kill
with
anyone,
Yahshua.
just as long as he did so indirectly. Those same Pharisees who killed Jesus Christ remain the undisputed rulers
Nah,
of Judaism.
I love him.
In Babylon, the Pharisees
I love Yahshua.
codified their
I
oral
love the Messiah.
traditions into the Babylonian
I love
Talmud,
Yahweh ben Yahweh.
the written form of that oral tradition which Jesus so bitterly rebuked.
The way you talk and the way
The
you
Talmud
act,
reveals how
I know
deep
you
was
don't
Israel's
got nothing to do with
apostasy.
him.
The Talmud also helps us understand the basis for Christ's
The
unflattering
way you on here
descriptions of the
harassing my
Pharisees.
channel, I know you
Jesus
don't got the
described
love
the
of him in
Pharisees
you.
as hypocrites, children of hell, blind guides, whited sepulchres, full of dead men's bones. He even described the Pharisees as children of their father, the devil, a murderer from the beginning.
See, he was calling them devils
the
back
Talmud
then,
confirms Christ's word.
and they get mad when we call them
In
devils
the Talmud,
today.
in Treatise Sanhedrin, an extensive passage describes the
There was
right
devils
of the
back
Pharisee
then,
to
and
kill
the
anyone,
devils
just
still
as
running
long as
around
he
today,
did so indirectly.
harassing
Those
the
same
chosen
Pharisees who
people.
killed Jesus Christ remain the undisputed rulers of Judaism.
In Babylon, the Pharisees
Yeah, I know he want us to
codified their
worship
oral
Caesar
tradition
Borgia.
into the Babylonian Talmud, the written form of that oral.
Some believe the United States isn't just a superpower.
The
It's
accuser
mystery
of the
Babylon
brethren.
warned about in Revelation.
I'm sitting on
But
here
is that
chilling, trying to
just a
play some
conspiracy
videos and
or a
bring
prophecy
some
unfolding?
awareness. I got a
The
devil
Bible
on my
describes
page.
America. It explains.
I'm not very hateful. I'm not hateful at all, brother. I ain't on nobody page harassing them this time of morning at night. I ain't showed no hatred to nobody on this channel. I'm just speaking facts. Period. There's no hate over here, brother. It's only truth, and people hate the truth. You someone that hate the truth, I can tell. The way you over here going back and forth with me, you hate truth. You hate it. I ain't do not one thing hateful on this channel. I don't spread hate. I don't talk hate. You are not speaking facts, man. Those are delusions. Oh my goodness. But this what they do though. We expect this. Y'all did it to Yahshua 1900 years ago. So when we wake up and rise up, we know you was gonna be doing the same thing. That's what heathens do. I don't have to answer none of your questions. You don't have no authority over me. I don't have to answer to you. That's why I don't answer no questions, because I don't have to answer to you. Who are you? You nobody. That's why you over here this time of morning on my channel, because nobody wants to have nothing to do with you. And you happy to be sitting here having a conversation with a guy like me. Hallelujah.
Known to the royal family of Israel, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His mighty Son Yahweh. And today's lesson is America is Egypt, Assyria, and Babylon, and the Bible will prove it. So first, we're going to talk about why America is Babylon the Great, primarily because of the wealth, the pride, the luxury, and the dominion. Oh, you guys don't know? Everywhere where water touches, America is running that. America has what is called hegemony. So you either have a sphere of influence because of the amount of money that you give the countries, the military presence that you have in that area, or the fact that this is a bully nation. You either do what they say, you get down, or you're going to lay down. The book of Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And what are some of her delicacies? Oil, rare minerals, slaves. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So this is talking about the global economic dominance that America has all over the planet. The book of Revelation chapter 18, verse 7. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. She feels as though there won't be any destruction to her empire, which is her world. It's not just America here, the landmass. Her empire is the entire globe. But when it starts talking, when it says she sits a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow, she also doesn't feel as though anything will happen with anybody she's aligned with, as well as her citizenry. So what she has is she has unmatched confidence and pride. We're talking about Babylon the Great, aka United States of America. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 7. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hands that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. And they do everything that Babylon does. All of her spells. When it says drink of the wrath, they drink the wine. That means all of her idolatry, all of her idiosyncrasies, all of her, and even we can go down the line, her media, her culture, even down to the LGBT stuff. That's literally, there's open LGBT stuff going on in Muslim nations. Why? Because America said so. Look it over in Japan. Look at China. These people wear suits. Not only wearing suits, the hip hop culture is really big over there. You guys look like Asian black people now. You do whatever America says. You want to be just like them. Again, you either get down or you lay down. See, America exports culture, currency, and corruption. Now, how NATO fits Daniel's iron and clay, the fourth kingdom. Listen, when you hear in the book of Daniel, it's talking about the fourth kingdom, it's talking about Rome. America is a descendant of Rome. The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things. So during that Iron Age, that was the Roman Empire. You see, iron was Roman military power. That's how come they were able to defeat everybody that's over here using sticks. Europe is Rome's continuation. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron. The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as so much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. So NATO. Everyone's familiar with NATO. They're strong militarily. That's the iron. But watch this. Politically, they're divided because America, just understand the European powers right now are against America because they don't like Donald Trump. They don't like Donald Trump's policy. So they're against it. The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 43. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So yes, they're going to have temporary alliances. Ever since World War II, there's been alliances between America and the foreign nations. And now the Lord brought in Donald Trump to eliminate those alliances. So these alliances, these temporary alliances, there's really no true unity. And then we're looking exactly into NATO structure. So let's look at nation by nation, the prophetic roles of Europe. Germany is military iron. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 7. After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. You see, Germany is industrial plus the military backbone of Europe. Then we have The weaklings, France, they're the political clay. The book of Psalms, chapter 2, verse 2. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. Who's the anointed? The children of Israel. France is diplomacy, secular governance, resistance to biblical morality. They believe, they worship Satan. Let's just straight up. They free sex, however you want to live, don't do nothing in the Bible. France is the country that banned IUIC. IUIC is not allowed to be in France. They're the only country to do that. They hate God over there. Britain.
But God results roll in. You saw white America celebrating in the streets. You heard them chanting his name. You watched them worship at the altar of their golden idol. They thought they were crowning their champion. They had no